And yes, we promised you that we're going to give you updates in Qatar 2022 here on News Central TV. Of course, African teams have had a taste of what it is like to play at the world's biggest sporting event, the FIFA World Cup. Yes, you hear about Senegal, you hear about Morocco, you hear about Tunisia, Cameroon and the Black Stars of Ghana who had to fight their way through. Oh, thanks to 2 goals coming from them. But yes, I did say would have an African country was already hit the sigh of relief. They've picked their first win at the FIFA World Cup. I am Onyechi Obara. I'm not alone in the studio. I've got with me Kingsley Akpan, a sport analyst and also a sport anchor like me. Yeah.
It's good to be here, and I had my fears before Qatar 2022.
Really?
Say, all the football players picking up injuries and all of that. But then, Qatar is really serving us. Cristiano Ronaldo breaking the record. First player to score at 5 World Cups. Saudi Arabia shocking Argentina. Japan shocking Germany.
Yes.
I like what I see, the fanfare and everything. Away from all the negativity before the World Cup, I'm enjoying Qatar 2022.
I'm also enjoying Qatar and News Central TV here, giving updates with the African teams who are representing the continent at the world's biggest sporting event. We are not going to be alone here in the studio. We've got 2 guests joining us all the way from Italy. We've got a performance coach, the person of Simone Rapamonti, and Sheikh Fall, a talent scout. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us on the show all the way from Italy.
Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure for us.
All right, okay, we've got this studio full, of course, here with a lot of discussion and talking point. But let's start off with what we've got as observations about the FIFA World Cup. There are a lot of talking points. Yes, when they say that the first World Cup to be played in an Arab nation, you know that topics will come out.
Yeah.
Matters arising will come out, and we'll have to talk about it. But something we observed here on News Central TV, we noticed that 14 teams parade players with African descent. They've got a link to Africa. 14 teams that qualify for this World Cup out of the 32 nations playing at the World Cup have got an African or more than one African in their team. Now, we did a little bit of research and we noticed that Qatar in Group A has got more Africans in players of African descent in that group. Now, we've seen players like Karim Boudiev and Boulalem Koki from Algeria, has got an Algerian, connection. Cape Verde connection for Padre Miguel. Egyptian connection for Ahmed Aladdin. And Ghana connection for Mohamed Montari. Remember Mohamed Montari, the guy, of course, who scored the goal for Qatar. Yeah. Yes, Africans dominating there. Not forgetting other groups there, where we'll see Group A also has got the Netherlands, where Nathan Ake, an Ivory Coast connection there. For Ghana, he's got Jeremy Frimpong in the Netherlands there for a Ghana connection. Memphis Depay
also, yeah.
Memphis Depay. A Ghana-Togo connection for Cody Gakpo. The guy who's just been scoring for the Netherlands. In Group B, let's see. Okay, this is Group D there. In Australia, Australia parades a guy who's got South African connection there, Kenny Bakos. Another South Sudan, Karanga Cole and Awel Mabil. For Denmark, we've got a Gambian connection, Alexander Barr, and a Tanzanian connection, Yusuf. Come on, Kingsley. Qatar is full of Africans.
Yeah, I think that's why some persons will tell you to be difficult for an African team to win the World Cup. But I'm not even talking about an African team getting into the semi-finals, winning the World Cup. Because if you look at it from time past, you find out that most of the guys who get the job done on the biggest stage, you trace their roots, find out that they are Africans. Zinedine Zidane, remember, as his African roots. Kylian Mbappe at the last World Cup was the star of the show. Yeah, he has an African root. And you look at this World Cup, like you rightly mentioned, 14 teams have got Africans. If you look at the French team as we speak, the African players they have in that French team is even up to 10, if not more than 10, from Mbappe to Tchouaméni to Kamavinga, even Matteo Guendouzi and co.
Even Karim
Benzema also.
Benzema's got an Algerian connection.
They're African. So when you find out that all of these nations come to Africa, or maybe you can say this African, their origin is from Africa, descent. When they poach on all these players, the African teams will miss out on them, and they can't use these players to prosecute the World Cup. And then the players will go on to play for Belgium, Italy, France, Spain. Even in Spain, Spain has Williams.
Yes.
His brother is playing for
Inaki Williams
Ghana.
and Miko Williams.
Yeah. Yeah, the younger brother is playing for Spain and the other brother is playing for Ghana. So imagine if we had all these players that we're mentioning. Germany, Jamal Musiala has Nigerian origin. Imagine having all these players play for African teams. Then we would see that the quality will be top notch.
But remember that Jose Mourinho once said that if FIFA can have a rule that says you play for your country of birth, if you've got an African connection, go play for your African country who you're connected to. Maybe one day Africa will lift the World Cup. That is what Jose Mourinho said.
Like they said, if wishes were horses.
Every beggar will ride.
You see, football is just part of life. And you need to also look at how these players have come up. You know, a lot of them, their grandparents, parents.
There is a link somewhere.
Refugees. So you can't just say, oh, because it's time for the World Cup, tell this man to go back to where he's coming from. You need to look at the antecedent, the track record. And I feel it to be difficult for FIFA to bring up such a rule, saying, oh, go play for your nation of origin, because you don't even know how that man has survived all through the years. But right now, I feel that what African countries should do is spread your network wide. Spread your tentacles wide enough. Like, imagine if Nigeria, you know, maybe we put square pegs in square holes and round pegs in round holes, and then we had the likes of Bukayo Saka, maybe Tammy Abraham, Eberechi Eze, playing for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And also the same thing happens to other African countries. Then you would say that, oh, maybe we might just have an African country play at the semi-finals of the World Cup or even go ahead to win the World Cup. But these African countries just wait, sit back, and look for that player to break out.
But Kingsley, it brings to the fore the question about scouting. Now, do you think African scouts who have been employed by their national teams are not doing enough to cite these players and their exploits abroad?
Well, I think they need to do more. Doing more has to be intentional, because for scouts need to put food on their table, and then they also need to make a career for these players. And so that's why what's at the back of their mind is not the national team that player will play for, but how to build a career for the players. And that's why I see that they don't think of the national team. So why I said it must be intentional is the Football Federation of all of these countries should say, oh, okay, this is what we want to achieve. And the target would be maybe in the next 12 years, in the next 16 years, in the next 20 years. It's not a short-term plan. So now you now create a scouting network where they are searching for these players for the future, and then you are putting things in place. You can't just say, oh, come and play for Nigeria, or come and play for Gabon, or come and play for Cameroon because you have Cameroonian descent.
Let's bring the media here, because I would like to throw stones at the media. The media know how to, praise, promote, push for a player online, even on their platforms too. Players that have plied their trade for the national team in the Super Eagles, for sure, you know that they've got media behind them blowing the trumpets. Yeah. That's why the national scout will go see, okay, let me see what this player is all about. Do you think the media has something, a hand in these players who are applying their trade for other countries? Maybe they've not done enough.
Well, it's two sides of a coin. The media has its good sides, and then the other not too good side.
They will shoot you on the foot. Kingsley.
Because, you look at it, since you brought it back home, you look at the national team, then you can tell that, oh, this certain player, manning this position should not be first choice. But
thank you.
How did he become first choice?
So the media,
yes. So the media also has what they have what they also do, where they can help a coach or help a federation or a manager to unearth a player. Okay,
you say media did not do enough for these players. I can count a lot of them here. You think the media did not do enough for them from the African sides, the African media?
Well, it's not a media problem. Even if the media had to go there. Bukayo Saka, for example, at some point, I heard the under-20 coach of Nigeria, his name just left me right now, and even Amaju Pinnick, the former NFF president, spoke about Saka, saying, they wanted him to come play for Nigeria, but things did not just go too well because he wanted to stay back and play for England, and that's why it's not a media thing. It's the federation and the country.
Okay, let's see if we can have Simone Rapomonti. Simone Rapomonti has been able to deal with some players, and I'm sure some African players. He's got this link with Senegal. So, Simone, we've just made an observation out here that we've got a lot of Africans plying the trade for other national teams. We could count 14 national teams parading Africans. Not only one African, we are seeing more than one African in their team. Now, we've pointed out the media, maybe shortcomings from the media or shortcomings from the national team scout. What's your thought about this?
Yeah, I can hear from you guys the African passion, and obviously everyone looking at Africa, like the quality of this player are unbelievable. And they play the top league, the 5 top league in Europe, the Ligue 1. There are a lot of African players in the EPL, in the Italian Serie A, in the Liga. So, as he was saying, there is a lot of talent, but at the same time, the pathway to become a professional footballer in the mindset of a professional footballer is not that clear, because as you see, there are so many potential in Africa, but not all the footballers reach that level from a mindset point of view as a professional footballer. So when it comes to an injury, as you know, there are so many factors, elements. And at the same time, if you look at the way an African footballer become a professional footballer, when he goes through the process of playing at a certain level, when he comes back into a national environment, it's totally different. The food, the facilities, the environment around, the coaching style, it's all different. So we have to make clear that sometimes when we talk about increase in injuries or performance, there are so many factors, so many elements that we have to take in consideration.
Okay, now Ripamonti has now opened our eyes to something, environment, the atmosphere. He says that African players who ply their trade in their club levels do not come home and meet the same coaching style, the same coaching equipment, the same coaching environment. Is this a factor why they should not even represent their national team, maybe a country of birth, or if they've got a little link with Africa? Ripamonti just opened our eyes to something.
It's a big factor. It's a big factor. In fact, you hear back home in Africa where they tell you that a player came to prosecute a game for his national team and then got injured and nothing was done about it. But these same players, you know the kind of welfare package that they have back in their club. So that's why I said it needs to be a wholesome change from top, like administratively, the federation. Let them do something. Let them do the right thing. Put things in place, and then you even see African players who have African descent say, oh, I want to play for this country because they can see the light. You don't force them. You don't guilt trip them or emotionally blackmail them and say, you are Nigerian, you are Cameroonian, you must play for the country. So we need to do a lot back home in Africa. Okay,
let's see if they're doing a lot. Did Liberia do a lot back home in Liberia? And remember that we've got one man who is the only African that has picked up the Ballon d'Or ever. Nobody has done that on the African scene. George WEAH. Now Timothy WEAH is in the news, and he becomes the first son of a Ballon d'Or winner to ever play at the World Cup or even score at the World Cup. But this is not the way Liberians are seeing it. They are looking at it like, okay, this history would have come to Africa. Why allow it to go to the US?
No, it will not come to Africa.
Oh.
Liberia, I don't see Liberia playing at the World Cup.
Did you see the stones they threw at George WEAH? George WEAH is a proud father. He had to go spend time with his son at Qatar there.
In the next 20 years, that's the next 5 World Cups. I don't think Liberia will play at the World Cup. It will be a miracle, because ask yourself, where's Liberian football right now? If you take out the 5 teams representing Africa right now, I can still call 5 more teams that should be at the World Cup: Nigeria, Mali, Algeria, Egypt. They are not at the World Cup. So when you say, oh, why don't we have, can we have Liberia play at the World Cup? I don't think so. And I think what Timothy WEAH had done is fantastic, because...
So he's representing USA because he's not seeing the possibility of Liberia ever playing at the World Cup. Is that what you're saying?
It might not be in his lifetime.
Might
not be in his lifetime, but right now he's hogging the headlines.
Okay, let me come from this angle. Now, a lot say that George WEAH would have done enough. They say charity begins from where? Home.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what will the president of Liberia have fed his son to have made him make a decision to play for the US? and not his father's country, where his father is the president of the side.
Okay.
Now, remember that, for George Weah, he has been there, he has done that.
Yeah.
He played with pride for his country.
Yeah.
What did he feed Timothy for Timothy to make a decision to play for the US? Now, if you bring this case to what happened to Alex Iwobi when the Nigerian team wanted to scout Alex Iwobi, remember that he's got the influence of his uncle, JJ Okocha,
yeah.
convinced him to play for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Yeah. What was George Weah doing not to convince Timothy Weah to play or even represent Liberia till the end?
We just mentioned it earlier. Facilities, putting things in place, the atmosphere, the environment. Timothy was born in the United States of America, and I can tell you for free that he has lived there maybe almost all through his life.
So all the players that were scouted, with let's say European.
When these players come back, let's ask ourselves, how many of them come back and then they're very happy that they did? You see, when they come back and they try to look at the experience, what we enjoy where we're born and what we are now enjoying when we go back to our country, you see that the difference is absolutely very clear. So for Timothy Weah, he was born in the United States, and that's the lifestyle, that's the culture that he has imbibed. So representing USA for him is just maybe a no-brainer. It's the best thing for him to have done. And I feel that the fact that name is even hugging the headlines, it's enough pride for Liberia. You shouldn't be thinking of, we should be doing it for Liberia.
So it's a win-win situation for Liberia?
Yes, it is a win-win situation for Liberia because except a miracle happens with Liberia at the World Cup. Maybe since we are going to have an expanded World Cup, 48 teams. If they give Africa, say, 7 or 8 slots, man, I'll start considering Liberia.
Okay, but Timothy Weah also got some accolades from the greatest of all time during his time, Pelé. He had a tweet after that wonderful goal to tweet at Timothy Weah. Of course, he was congratulating him for that goal there, and we can see there he says, congratulations, it was a beautiful goal. Keep dreaming, dreams come true. And Timothy Weah had to respond, thank you, Papa Pele. It is such a blessing and an honor to receive such an inspiring message from the king himself. Love, love, love. Thank you for everything you have done for the world and for us young black men. Grande abración.
That's where the connection is, that last line. Love for us all black men. Pelé, Timothy Weah, George Weah, that's where the connection is. And it's a good one because the World Cup is being played in Qatar and a lot has been said about the human rights violation and all of that. And I love seeing things like this where there's love and not hatred. Okay,
love and not hatred, and that's what we are preaching there. A lot are still hating on Qatar for having to host the World Cup for 2022, but they should just forget about it, as we would say. Let's move to our next talking point, and it's all about the time wastage and the additional time that has been given by FIFA to all matches played for the week. Now, every game so far at the 2022 FIFA World Cup has exceeded 100 minutes in length. There was an extraordinary 24 minutes in total added to that England's 6-2 victory over Iran on Monday. Now, in total, there was almost half an hour added to England's thumping off Iran there in that Group B fixture. 14 minutes at the end of the first half and further 10 at the end of the second half. Not forgetting the other game with Wales and the USA. We also had a long time, a stretch of time there.
I feel if not for we having so much games for these players in the course of the season, they had to rush a lot of games, play after every 3 days. We should be celebrating what Colina has done, making sure that we don't get to enjoy football for 40 minutes, 41 minutes, 42 minutes at the World Cup, knowing fully well that normally a 45 minutes a half, we see players, roll on the floor. We see players even celebrate a goal. To celebrate a goal, you need, say, 1 minute, 30 seconds or thereabout. And there's a VAR check. We have player substitutions and all of that. And I like what Colina has done, saying that what they have done is to make sure that the fans get to enjoy football. So now this is not just a guesswork. They are calculating it. For VAR decisions, they have the officials in the VAR room who check how long did this VAR check, how long did it last? 3 minutes, they send it. The fourth official also is calculating. Oh, they scored 2 goals. That should be around 3 minutes. This player was, on the top for say 7 minutes. That's 10 minutes. So all these humongous extra minutes you're seeing is calculated. And what they are trying to achieve is making sure that the fans enjoy more football. If you pay for football 90 minutes, you should enjoy 90 minutes football and not 80 minutes football, 2 minutes for substitution, 3 minutes for celebration, 3 minutes for VAR. And I feel that if not that these players have had so much football to play in the course of the season, and we're in mid-season, this is a laudable achievement, by the Referee Association.
Okay, now we're going to have our Zoom guests, Simone Rapamonti and Sheikh Fall. Sheikh, I would like you to come in here concerning the additional minutes that we've been seeing at the FIFA World Cup. We would have Simone Rapamonti do a translation here and also for us, because Sheikh would be speaking to us in French. So, Rapamonti would like to ask Sheikh at this time, why the additional minutes? Do you think it's unnecessary? Or do you think this was not well taught by FIFA to keep stretching the duration at which football matches are played in Qatar?
So thanks very much for this topic. Just translate to Fadel, ci chiedono un po' questo tempo addizionale, Fadel, che cosa sta inficiando poi nella prestazione e nel gioco del calcio, no? So if you ask me, this is my gut feeling. The football is changing because if you see the NBA or if you see the basketball, the density of the game obviously affect the preparation. The preparation for the game, if you stop and play, even the muscle of the players, they struggle because it's a different sport. So we have to cope with a different sport. All the performance coaches, the mental preparation of an individual athlete is totally different. So we have to adapt to a new type of football. This is an industry where the fans want to enjoy, of course, but should I say something? Can I ask you a question? Would you rather watch a game with an emotion for 60 minutes of your totally density of the game, or would you like to wait 120 minutes to live 10 minutes emotionally, 10 minutes stop, 10 minutes emotionally? So we have to make something, of course, for the fans, but at the same time, who's going to be the play the game? The footballer. So they are the actors of the game. So they should enjoy it, because otherwise the people that are watching the game, okay, they're enjoying. But what about the footballers? Do they enjoy? That's my question.
Okay, well, of course they would get to enjoy with more time added, isn't it, Kinsley?
Well,
Rapamonti has just thrown us up.
It depends. If they had not had so much football where, you ran these players to the ground, they will enjoy it. But imagine if a player is coming back from injury and the coach just wants him to have 15, 20 minutes. He puts him on in the 70th minute. If you have extra time of 13 minutes, that player gets to play 33 minutes, and it might just aggravate that injury. See, remove all of these things, say players getting to play so much football before the World Cup, I feel that this additional time is fantastic. Let's enjoy the football. Let's see the fans have fantastic work for their money and investors and all of that, and not just having to enjoy 40 minutes of football in the first half because 5 minutes was used for either substitutions or injuries and all of that, and then the same thing happens in the second half. When you now look at it cumulatively, you have just 80 minutes of actual football.
Kinsley, it's surprising that VAR is not even taking a lot of time this period for the FIFA World Cup. It's surprising that something else is taking a lot of time. But this question was asked legend in refereeing the football game, that is Pierluigi Collina, and he had something to say before the start of the World Cup. Let's listen to Collina.
When we speak about wasted time in a match, we should make a difference between the time wasted because of the game and the time wasted deliberately by players. The most important, the largest part is the time wasted because of the match. In a match, there are on average 9 minutes lost on throw-ins. They are part of the game. What we already did in Russia, you may remember, is to more accurately calculate the time to be compensated at the end of each half. And in Russia, we told everybody, don't be surprised if you will see the fourth official raising the electronic board with a big number on it. Think a match where in a half there are 3 goals scored. The celebration normally takes 1.5 minutes. So with 3 goals scored, basically you lose 5-6 minutes for something that is nice to see for those who scored. So what we really want to do is to accurately calculate the time to be added.
And that the legend himself says, come on, calm down. We know what we are doing in Qatar. We've done this. Come on, we've gone ahead of you to make every crooked way straight. Yes, he says that they've calculated all the time wasted already and they've added it to the time that would be played for a particular football match. So I think we should calm our nerves right now because that's a great explanation coming from the legend himself. So what are the fans saying at this time? Nigerian fans, we had to go on the street to ask them. All right, Nigeria not there, but which of the African team are you tipping to go all the way in Qatar? Let's listen to what they had to say in our fans' corner.
I think Senegal will do more better than the other 4 countries. They provided more stars and more quality players than the other stars. If I could choose an underdog, I think I would choose Morocco. Morocco might likely, if they know what they're doing, they have teams. They don't have too much stars, but they have teams. So I think Morocco can also do better.
I think Senegal should go for. I think they should get to semi. I think they are good to go. They are good to go.
For me, there are 2 countries that I'm in support of that I think they can do not perfect. Senegal #1, then Morocco #2. As in, I pray even if they can take us to the final or even as in they win the World Cup, I'm happy.
And they are going to go to where? We do not know, but they are going to go further. That's what the fans are saying. They're tipping Senegal. But Senegal becomes the first African country to ever pick a win at the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Yes, they've had the win. We thought Ghana Black Stars were going to do something, you know, break that jinx of the goalless draw and the loss we had. But Senegal, African champions, have proved that they are worthy African champions. We go on a break. We still got Kinsley Akban in the studio and Simone Rapamonti and Sheikh Nafal is still standing by via Zoom. So don't go anywhere. Our World Cup special continues. Welcome back. You're still watching our World Cup special. We have seen the injuries, we have seen the emotions, we have seen all the celebrations that you can think about at the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. But now it's time to analyze those matches we got to watch. A week of unprecedented upsets. Senegal, they started off by not winning their game. The African side who had their first showing there. But Argentina was served hot breakfast. Then Germany had to come just behind Argentina, got served hot again over there. And we'll get to say Akwaba for all the Ghanaians there who made us proud with that interesting game against Portugal. But let's see the spate of injuries. Now, we've seen a lot of reports coming from all the games played for the week. Reports about some players being ruled out, not being able to continue their World Cup campaign again. France, Lucas Hernandez is one of them. Yeah. Saudi Arabian player. That was even
the concussion.
Oh, that collision was really fearful. But we're happy that he's gotten a successful surgery, yeah. So he's out right now. So we are very happy. Then Neymar, after the game, the opener for Brazil, he also has been listed. For Neymar. Yes, has been listed as one of the players who is injured and out of the group stages, not the World Cup. But Lucas Hernandez for France is out totally. Now the spate of injuries has been a bit of a concern right now for all football-loving fans and all coaches, especially their club coaches. Do you think this is a time to maybe soft pedal a bit?
We can't soft pedal. The World Cup is here already, and we need to enjoy it. I'm not surprised seeing the spate of injuries, knowing fully well that there was a disruption, you know, in how the players operate, their calendar. Remember very well that, you know, they have mid-season break, there's this pre-season break also. But because of the World Cup, the preseason did not go as it should. You know, a lot of leagues started very early, and then they made these players play a lot of games. After every 3 days, you must play Champions League, UEFA Europa League, and also, you know, league games, and then heading to the World Cup. You didn't have enough break before the World Cup, and that's why these players are not machines. That's why you can see that they are picking up injuries here and there. I'm not surprised. I'm even surprised that.
So you think the calendar is a big factor?
Yes, it's the calendar. It's choking, and you know, now football is being played at a very high intensity. You know, unlike before where it was more tactical. Now it's about high press. You know, give it an energetic display. So players will always pick up these injuries here and there, and I think that's what we're experiencing right now in Qatar.
Okay, let's bring in Simone Ripamonti. He is a performance coach, so he has dealt with a lot of players, their physique and all, trying to train them, trying to help them exercise. Simone, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm with you guys, and I totally 100% agree. The calendar, the congested fixtures are affecting totally our modern football. The physical preparation is obviously affected by playing every three days. So the match preparation is different. So we play every 2 days, 1 day off, and then you have another game, Champions League, training camp. So the exposure of an injury is a big concern in the football community. So we're having a lot of discussion internally with medical department in the global community. Obviously, there is a concern, but again, we have to understand that football is changing. The demands are getting higher, as you see, as you were talking about the intensity. So we have to cope with that. As a performance coach, what I see is soft tissue injuries are increasing. So we have to make sure that probably the model of the physical preparation and the football is changing. As a sport professional, we have to create. There is a concern, so we have to talk, share methodology. We have different countries: South America, Africa, the Southeast is growing up, China, Japan. So we have to have a round table in between the sport professional to discuss and to share methodology.
Okay, Simone, can a player get back to normalcy? Can he play the way he was playing before if he gets an ACL injury? Now, I hear a lot say ACL injury is a career-threatening injury. Can a player get back to his previous form if he encounters an ACL injury?
This is a great question, and it depends on the attitude of each individual professional. As a professional, every injury, it can be an opportunity to understand how is important physical preparation, the injury prevention, the daily routine, the mindset of a professional footballer. If you look at Cristiano Ronaldo, he built up his quality. He's not like Lionel Messi, he's not Pelé. He was a guy that put himself in a challenging situation, get out from the comfort zone. We were talking a lot about psychologists in sport. There is a lot, Xavi, a lot of different footballers. They came out with, I've been following a psychologist. So now, emotionally, it's totally different. If you look at the media coverage when it comes to an injury, or the media coverage when a player doesn't play very good high football quality standards, all the media are having a lot of impact on social media. If you remember, I was a player. When you were a player, everyone were looking at the paper, the newspaper, the day after the match, just to see the score, how much it was my score. I put 7 or 8. Now you have the fans that follow you on Instagram or follow you on Twitter, and they put the comments if you don't play in a good standard level. So the pressure is high, and the injury comes when the tough tissues comes an injury when you are emotionally too much involved in your business. So we have to calm down and make sure that the physical preparation and the mindset to play every 3 single day and to play at the high level of standard is the physical preparation and the mindset is too much important. And if you think the preparation when the footballer, they came back to the national team 1 week before the World Cup start, if you look at the physical preparation, obviously they were overloaded by the individual league. And when they came to the training camp, they had to prepare the World Cup in a different environment with a different climate. Because if you play at 25 Celsius degree, it's different than you play in London with 2 degrees or 3 degrees. So you come in a week with a different climate, and the tissues are affected by that. The muscles are affected by that, and the physical preparation is totally different. This is my point, and I want to travel up with you guys.
Thank you so much, Simone. That was really insightful. And I'm hoping that coaches, FIFA, understand this. These are the kind of people they need there to put them through, make them understand how the body of a player works. But to wrap that up, let's go to something very interesting. Now, this man was able to give Zambia glory sometime in the year 2000. He came again on the African scene. He went to Cote d'Ivoire. He gave them the African Cup of Nations trophy. He went to Morocco. He was the reason why Morocco made it to the World Cup since 1998. Yes, he's always donning a white shirt and black. He says it is for peace. But he's got one message here after causing an upset to Argentina. Let's see who that man is.
I decided to reach this country 3.5 years ago. And since this time, I have the management, a president, amazing president, the Ministry of Sport. They were always behind us. So even when we visit our prince 2-3 weeks ago, he didn't put any pressure on us. This is a way you have to work in football. Because when you are putting too much pressure, it's not working all the time.
Him there talking about pressure. That man is not quiet on the pitch of play. He was able to motivate his players to say, you can do it. You can cause the upset in Saudi Arabia. His name, Argentina will never forget that name. Javier Renard is that name they will not sleep on, because he's the coach who took Saudi Arabia to cause that upset in their first opener at the FIFA World Cup in Qatar.
One thing I like about
one thing
I like about his story is that it shows that there's reward for hard work, putting in the sheet, and discipline, and putting time on the job. And Javier Renard has shown that. He has done it on the African continent, and now he's doing it on the world stage. Leading Saudi Arabia to beat Argentina is no mean feat. Now, it is not even the victory.
Argentina has got Lionel Messi,
yes,
you not say that.
The manner of the victory, trailing by 1-0. We saw footages of what he did. That halftime pep talk will go into history books.
I wanted the halftime pep talk.
That halftime pep talk is the greatest halftime pep talk.
Let's give it to them. Let's give it to them. The halftime pep talk. That was the motivation for me.
They play relax.
قاعدين نلعب مرتاحين.
Come on guys, come on, this is a World Cup.
رجاء شباب هذا كاس عالم.
Give everything.
نعطي كل شيء.
When you are at the edge of the box, you are like this.
قدام مرمى.
Oh, be like this. Be concentrated.
ركز عشان تسجلها.
The highlight is good enough.
Yeah.
How they got that goal, they were able to bounce back from a 1-goal deficit there.
Javier Renard is breaking records. In fact, as it stands, he's the foreign manager to have the highest number of wins.
Tell them, Kinsley.
For Saudi Arabia.
Tell them, Kinsley.
And when they get to play Poland in their next match, there is this connection. Javier Renard has roots in Poland. In fact, his grandparents have roots in Poland.
Is that enough for him to win them?
Now, this is everything falling in place for him.
Okay.
He has shocked Argentina. It's time for him now to call on the spirit of the grandparents to help him beat Poland.
That spirit better help him.
If that happens, this will be the first time Saudi Arabia will be getting into the knockout stage of the World Cup. They did it in 1994.
Yes.
And this will be the second time that will be happening. And you look at Saudi Arabia coming into the World Cup that had 32 teams. Being the 31st rank, the only team that was ranked lower than them is Ghana.
Everybody looked down on Saudi Arabia.
Beating Argentina. As it stands right now, I believe they will qualify from that group. And if that happens, they've won the World Cup already. For a team like Saudi, even beating Argentina is enough. It's a big deal. So for Javier Renard, I'm happy. The only sore part in this is that at some point, Nigeria, we went to, we were about to bring him on board after the 2019 AFCON, and we couldn't get him.
Just do not go there,
Kingsley. Renard at the helms of affairs for the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Morocco are still crying right now, still wailing, saying, why did we let him go?
Maybe he would have been the man to lead us to this World Cup. And then maybe we'll just go ahead to be the first African country to get to the semi-finals of the World Cup. But hey, he's doing it for Saudi, and I'm very happy for him based on his track record.
I would have loved for you all to see the halftime pep talk. That is the killer punch there. That's the reason why his name kept all around social media there. But let's go see the likes of fans in Qatar, what they have to say. Now, Qatar is looking catastrophic for Qatar. They become the first nation to go out.
No, they won't be worried. They knew before the tournament
they should be worried.
Scoring a goal is a win for Qatar.
They should be worried.
Qatar.
They should be worried.
Qatar, are they really?
They are home already.
Yes, they're not that football nation that you'd go ahead to win the World Cup, but they would have loved to maybe progress from the group stages.
Round of 16 should be fine for them.
Looking at the teams in their group, very, very solid and disciplined sides. You know, the Netherlands, Ecuador are playing a brilliant brand of football. Senegal are African champions. So when you find yourself in that group, just whatever comes to you, just manage it.
Okay, let's listen to the Qatar fans and their disappointment for their national team.
Something that was unexpected since we won the AFC championship back in 2019. We saw a team that could really progress in the World Cup, especially with the nation hosting it, but the management hasn't been there.
I feel like no one ever expected us to even win, but at least I thought we'd reach the round of 16, because just a few years ago we were the best team in Asia, and the teams we beat to get there just beat Argentina and Germany.
You know, I was really hoping for like a huge upset. I wanted Qatar to beat a South American team. You know, South American teams are known for their strength. I just wish Qatar would have taken that into consideration and prepared a little more.
Handsome fans that have got no problem at all. They never expected too much from Qatar. So, losing out right now and being the first country to be booted out.
Hosting the World Cup is a win for them already.
Win-win. They are hosting, right? They get to see all the games.
Yes.
But let's look at what the tables are looking right now and with the results we've got so far. So, looking at Group A, let's say Senegal were able to fight their way through. After causing that bad news for Qatar. After that defeat there, Qatar is out of the game, but they still get to play one of their games. So looking at Group A, we would say Netherlands and Ecuador still stand at each point, 4-4. They've got four points. Senegal, 3 points after winning that game yesterday. And that's the game we should talk about right now, that Senegal game. Senegal picking their first win in the FIFA World Cup in Qatar, and also being the first African side to register a win.
I was not expecting less because they're African champions. Yes, you can say no Sadio Mane, but they've got some other fantastic players. You know, Ismail Assab, like Dia, there's Gueye, Mendy, Koulibaly, Mendy also in goal. So I expected them to beat Qatar. But I'm worried. I don't think they might make it out of this group because of the quality of Ecuador. Ecuador are playing a brilliant brand of football. Against the Netherlands. After Kodigaku got that goal in the 5th minute, it was all Ecuador. In fact, at some point, Ecuador had 11 shots, 7 of thereabout on target, and the Netherlands had none. So I feel Ecuador would really stretch the Senegalese. And, you know, lapse of concentration, Koulibaly, Mendy in goal. Ecuador might just be the team that will knock out Senegal, because I feel the Netherlands have enough to beat Qatar.
Kingsley, let's bring in Shaking At Fall right now. Would have Simone Ripomonti do translations for us. Now, he's got the stats. He's a Senegalese, so he follows the Teranga Lions and has got stats for us. So he's going to be speaking in French, but Simone Ripomonti will help us translating there in English. So go ahead, Shaking At Fall.
Racconta pure Fadel, così io ti traduco. Un po' sulle stats del Senegal, come ti sembra?
Del Senegal comunque praticamente gioca un calcio che è partito molto bene con l'Olanda, che a livello di possesso palla è una squadra che non gioca, non fa la possesso palla corta come lo fanno le squadre come Olanda, la squadra che ha affrontato. Giocano molto la possesso lunga e cercano le prime punte. Quindi è un calcio che comunque a livello europeo di solito dà un po' di problemi.
Lasciami tradurre. So he's saying that the ball possession that Senegal having is very short compared to the Dutch team and the other European ball possession, which is make sometimes difficult because if you play a good ball possession, then obviously you run less and then you waste less energy. So now Senegal is playing a high possession but in a short distance. So this is the main things. And if you look at the other clubs,
di possesso, se vedi il dominio territorio qua, vedi che le date statistiche che hai lavorato a Future Lab, comunque vedi che il dominio, questo è lo stile offensivo efficace, che Senegal ha una media, fa parte, entra nella media, non è nella prima fascia praticamente.
Ok, aspetta che traduco. Ok, so the dimension of the ball possession and especially the dominant of this possession, Senegal is the average. So it doesn't showing to have a great playing style, but at the same time, it's not doing quite bad compared to the rest of the national teams. But if you look at the top national team, especially Iran, they playing a good quality offensive football. So now Senegal is the average. He can do better. Okay, Fadel?
E vedi quale? Perché poi se vedi che la prima partita contro l'Olanda lui fa lo scorrere un po' su, contro l'Olanda gioca un 4-4-2, contro Qatar l'allenatore ha cambiato praticamente tutta la formazione, cioè il modulo di gioco, i giocatori c'erano gli stessi però ha cambiato il modulo di gioco, è tornato a fare un 4-4-2 che là in Senegal la popolazione, i tifosi non sono d'accordo di fare un 4-4-2.
Aspetta che
preferiscono giocare.
So, Chekina is saying that the head coach Cissé is playing 4-4-2. The forwarder are very long distance, far away from the game. So sometimes it's difficult. They play against Qatar with the 4-4-2. And the crowd from Senegal, the fans from Senegal, they're not very happy with this playing style. So Cissé, there's a concern of this playing style in Senegal, and because the ball possession and the forwarder are too far away from the play, from the game. So this is the main concern for the Senegal fans.
Okay, we are hoping that Senegal will do better when they play their next game. Time not up, friends. Thank you, Sheikh Nafar. It was a good breakdown. Thank you so much. Thank you, Simone Ripomonti, for your translations and also joining us on the show. Kinsley, you're here, and we know that there's an African side already a halftime now between Tunisia and Australia, and it's at what score?
Well, Australia leading Tunisia. I was expecting Tunisia to beat Australia because I feel that, having held the game, this would be the match for them to pick up at least 3 points and they know that
because they went goalless in their first game.
Yes,
right?
When they get to play France, they can just look for a way to lock up shop and then get qualify for the next stage. But trailing to Australia at halftime, maybe they need to bring down the spirit of having Renard and Saudi Arabia and then get all 3 points at the end of 90 minutes.
Okay, we wait and see what will be the lot of the other African teams. Senegal have been able to register their first win. Can Ghana register a win? Can Morocco do what they've never done before? Remember that Ashraf Hakimi will not be in the next game. And also Tunisia trying to fight their way to the top in the group. Now, this is where we call it a wrap on the show, but we're not going to wrap up the show without giving you what we've got on social media. I am Onyechi Obaro. Thank you so much, Kinsley Akpan, for being on the show. And meet us, of course, tomorrow Sunday. We've got something cooking for you on our World Cup special. Have a lovely day.